How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully everyone's doing well. I need to reposition some of this stuff here. Alright, tonight we're back at, put Boba here. Now we'll put Boba down here for tonight. Alright, going back to our live chiller chats. Now tonight we'll be talking to Michael Smith, independent film writer and director. Wow, everything is running really super slow with the old computer tonight. I wonder what's up with that. We'll be starting here in a few minutes. Wow, I think we will. Let's see. Let's see if we're having some technical difficulties here. Never good. It's never good. Terrence is, hi, good vibes. All right, thanks, Terrence. Thanks for joining us. I'm having a few little technical snags, but of course, we'll get it worked out. We'll get it worked out. All right, as soon as I get on here and share this, there we go, here we go. Let me share this, and then as soon as I share, we'll start. Wow, I'm amazed at how slow everything is running here tonight. Whoa. All right, not to worry, good folks. We'll get it. We'll get it. Maybe. Just a few more. All right, hope everyone's having a good night. Yeah, we'll put it on the Harrisville Haunted House. Why not? Okay. There we go, and here we go. Ava's waving. Craig says hi. Hey, Craig, thanks for joining us. All right, it is 8 o'clock. Time to begin the show. Hey everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to another episode of Chiller Chat. Chiller Chat is where I speak to a guest, and we'll be talking about topics of horror, science fiction, and the paranormal. But tonight we have independent writer and director Michael Smith. He's going to be talking about his movie House of the Vampire. And House of the Vampire is a homage to the old Hammer horror movies. I'm sure many of you are very well aware of that. Those movies are great. Big fan. All right, so just want to remind everybody, every Thursday night on Facebook, on the Chiller Night Facebook group page, we have a watch party. It starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And So if you're not a member of the Chiller Night Facebook group page, become a member. You know, there's no secret handshake or nothing like that. Just request become a member, and we'll let you in, so you can participate and join in the fun there as well. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Michael on the line. Give him a holler here. Everybody having a good week, I hope. Let's see here. All right, and I do want to mention too, this is an interactive show. Now I'll be talking with Michael, and if you have a question or comment, feel free to send it to me, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I'll see them, I'll read them, and if I happen to miss it because I'm talking to Michael, let's throw it in there again. We will get to it. So, all right, let's get Michael on the phone here. You know, we're almost there. I promise you. Let's see, here we go. Everything's running a little slow, including my phone. That's not good. That's really not good. All right, here we go. Okay.
Hello there.
Hello, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Brian. You're on Chiller Chat. How are you tonight?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Really, really good. So
Yeah.
I've been really looking forward to this. I'm gonna pull up your poster here for folks to see. Let me pull this up. I'll put it beside your picture here. House of the Vampire.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this because I'm a huge fan of the Hammer horror movies, and I know that this is a homage to the old Hammer movies. Maybe I'll make that a little smaller and put that right underneath your picture there. There we go. So, all right, House of the Vampire.
Right.
What made you think of this? What was your idea? What inspired you to do this House of the Vampire movie?
Classic Hammer horror films.
Mm-hmm.
I, like you, I'm a big fan. And I said, I would love to do something that has the feel of Hammer from the 70s. Short of going to the English countryside, we did what we could. And so we should just do something with a vampire, with gothic atmospheres, dark and stormy nights, all of those cliches that's a staple of the Hammer horror films.
Right. Well, okay. So it's a homage to the Hammer horror films. Now, one thing I've noticed, because you were on here last year, in fact, it was last January, you were talking about your movie, Mr. Stitches. And the one thing that I noticed, you seem to like a challenge, because these are movies that are not done within our current time era, which obviously creates a lot more difficulty on you as the creator of the film. Yeah, what is it about that attracts you to make movies from different eras?
This is my third film. The one I did between Stitchy and this one also took place in 1950s at a funeral at a home, an Appalachian funeral from 1950s. So I think it's just costumes. I like costumes. I like playing with the vernacular of the day. Visiting historical. I'm a big history buff. So if I can go to a location from the 1800s, like the mansions that we filmed in for Vampire, that's even better. It's just so much more to look at and to experience. It brings the characters to life. Just so much more satisfying than just going out in the woods and filming. You know.
Right, right. Well, you don't shy away from a challenge, obviously, because I know when you were talking about Mr. Stitches, everything had to be, of course, to that era, and now we're going back into what the Victorian era.
Yeah.
Now, what year does the story take place in?
This is 1890, and fortunately, I live not very far from a fantastic historic area of Parkersburg, West Virginia. And the folks who own this home, I want to say it's 1850s. I want to say it might not be. Were kind enough to let us come in there and take over for 12 hours. We really shot all the interiors in 12 hours in one day.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just we just had a free run of the place, and we were treated more like family than a film crew. So yeah, it was that and the other mansion up in McConnellsville, Ohio. That was the other location for exteriors.
Mm-hmm.
They let us come up there and film. I was up there many times. I probably didn't even notice I was there. I was out there in the front yard with my camera at all hours of the afternoon and the evening. It's getting exteriors. So
Parkersburg, West Virginia, and McConnellsville, Ohio. What made you choose those locations?
they're both very old. They both have historic value. McConnellsville itself is a pre-Civil War era village in southeast Ohio. I'm originally from there, so I'm familiar with the area. And of course, I live a stone's throw from Parkersburg.
Okay.
And I just find these places. This is a cool place for location. I make a mental note, and then I write a screenplay a year later, and there we go.
So okay? I haven't talked to you since last January when you were on here about Mr. Stitches. You say that you had a film in the meantime.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of you're a busy person.
It was a little 15-minute short we did, I think, not this past October, but the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And it took place at, we shot it at the same house that we filmed the farm scenes for Mr. Stitches.
Oh, okay.
So, like Hammer, I go and recycle locations.
Yeah.
And we shot that in a couple of days. It was just a funeral scene at a home. So, yeah.
What was it like? I saw some of your pictures, and I'm going to put some of the pictures the promotional pictures up that you had sent me. But before I do that, well, I'll do that right now because I want to show the title. I'll go down the list. The first one I'm showing is House of the Vampire, the title picture, which is very Hammer-esque, very, very cool looking. And that's the house right there, huh? I mean, that's the actual house that you filmed in McConnellsville?
Yeah, that's the exterior of the home that we shot. I think that one is from 1855, but it's a historic home. And we shot the exteriors there. And we had to shoot 6 different locations for one house.
Oh, okay.
The exteriors in one place, the interiors at another place. The cellar was a completely different location in McConnellsville at the historic Opera House Theater. We shot the cellar scenes there. But we had to because the home in Parkersburg was right next to other homes on a street, and I needed it to look like it was by itself, on the English countryside.
Okay.
And we just simply couldn't, pull back to a wide shot and not see modern cars or other houses.
Now the next picture I'm showing is of the cemetery. There's a chap who's dragging a wooden coffin.
Yeah, Silas the Gravedigger. Yeah, that's Ed Haynes. He's a fantastic guy up in Columbus. I've been wanting to work with Ed for years. He was supposed to be in Mr. Stitches, but scheduling conflicts got in the way, and he wasn't able to be in the movie. But I finally got him in this one. We shot for a couple of days for him and his scenes, and he'll probably be in my next one. So, yeah. Very
cool. Now here's one that I pulled up that has a man in a robe, and he's talking to a young lady, and there it's an interior shot of the house.
Yeah, that is from a dream sequence. That's Jim Smith, who was actually my dad. Now he's playing the character
of
yeah. So I
He
thought
was
I
in
might.
Mr. Stitches too, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I take that cue from Tim Burton and Alfred Hitchcock. I put the same people and everything. Um, but yeah, he's in there, and I was thinking about writing a scene where I would actually be in the film myself as a younger version of him. So
Uh-huh.
that's why.
Oh.
And he had a good time, and we went and shot in the basement. And so he's talking to the young child in the basement. He's telling her stories of vampires and the history and all that.
Okay, now one thing that probably a lot of people don't, or probably wouldn't think of, um, all the stuff in the background of not only your outside shots but your interior. How long did it take you to prep a room to make sure that there's nothing modern in the background? And that would be easy, I would think, to slip up and forget something. Just
Yeah,
knowing me, you know.
yeah. I didn't have to worry about any of that because the home that we shot in was already decorated as you see it in the film.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's to the period. It's full of antiques and reproductions of antiques. And my main concern was just keeping the extension cords out of the way, which in one shot I did not do. You know, so one shot the extension cord. But they had electric lights in the house, and that was my concern. They said no, there would have been electricity for the wealthier people in this period. That would be accurate. So.
Oh, is that right? I wouldn't have known that, to be honest with you. Huh.
Yeah, and some of the lights they had in there used to be gas fixtures. They were
Okay.
just modernized with lights, with light bulbs now. But yeah, they said there would have been electricity.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was great.
I wouldn't have known that. Now
I didn't either.
here's one where it looks like I can only assume a vampire being staked with some a young man is looks like he's giving it to a vampire there.
Yeah, I had to include at least one murder,
Yeah,
in the thing just to give you something to look at. The vampiress was played by Mary Kay Riestenberg. She's a fantastic actress out of Cincinnati, and she's 63 years old.
Mhm.
But you would never know this. And she just started acting like 4 years ago.
Huh.
And now she's getting all these other things, and we talked today actually, and she's got two other things going on. One, other films, and Joe Morland, who was the father, he has a film to do in Nashville, I think, this month.
Mhm.
So everyone's busy, and they all come from across Ohio to be in House of the Vampire.
That's interesting. Interesting that she picked up the acting bug that later on, in her, I take it, her late 50s.
Yeah, I really wanted an older actress to play this character, and she was exactly what I was looking for. And the photos that she sent me and the appearance that she had in a music video over there in Cincinnati, I said, this is who I want to be the vampires.
Huh.
I stopped looking after that, so yeah.
Now she tried theater or anything, or is this her first time acting?
No, she's done other things, and even right now she's doing things. I think as springtime comes around, I think she'll be doing a lot more because she really is a fantastic actress and very conscientious. I mean, they were all consummate professionals. I couldn't have asked for a better cast, especially driving that far, for those many days, to be in this little movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Rick Riblet says hi. Hey, Michael.
Rick's the only one from West Virginia in the movie. It's
he's in the movie as well, huh?
Rick, yes, God.
Hey, Rick.
He plays Niles the butler. And Rick was instrumental in getting me the farm location and the horses that we used. And I just had to put him in there. I said, you've got to be in this. He was in my last film, Sitting Up with the Dead.
Okay.
And I said, we're doing another movie. We're gonna have you in it. And we talked, and he said, I've got this farm, and we've got horses over here, and so yeah, Rick's a great guy.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, okay, from A to Z, Michael, how long does it take for you to come up with the idea and complete the movie? And the reason I'm asking you this is it seems like you were able to do this in a very short amount of time, or am I wrong? Because I'm
No.
just amazed that you were able to do this from the time we last talked, and then you had a project in between.
Yeah, I work very quickly. It's like guerrilla filmmaking. You know, I go in, I know the shots I want to do. I don't have a crew. I
Hmm.
have one person, Lisa Hachesky, who's my right hand in everything. And I couldn't give her long enough credits for this because I ran out of credit space at the end of the film. But we all pull together. I mean, you know, one actor might hold the mic, you know, during a scene or pull cables or something. It's very quick. It's homegrown productions,
Hmm.
but it all looks so good because I have great people who come on board and they make me look good. And we have great locations. That's, you know, historic. We have the wonderful costumes from the period in House of the Vampire. Uh, the old carriage. You know, we have it's owned by the folks who own the mansion that we shot in.
Oh
But
wow, that's really cool.
yeah, we just didn't get the horses that we wanted to for a couple of exterior shots.
Hmm.
There's just logistic problems and scheduling problems, so we didn't get the horses in some of the scenes I wanted to. But it took me 6 months from conception to now to get House of the Vampire done.
Really, just 6 months?
Yeah, I think I made the Facebook page last June.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, we need to do something with a vampire, with an English mansion. You know, let's say a family is stalked by a vampire. Well, yeah, and we bounce ideas back around and come up with a narrative and go with it.
Now you say you were filming just in interior wise for like 12 hours that day. Um,
Yeah,
eh, that's that's a lot of work because your movie, I see it's almost an hour long.
yeah, 50 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean that's a heck of a lot of work. I've never made a movie, but on episodes like Chiller Night Theater and stuff like that,
Oh yeah,
I just on a small scale, there's a lot of setup and stuff that I don't even completely understand. So um,
yeah.
I just think that would be such a task, for just
Mm.
you and your aide to be
Oh, it's
setting
exhausting.
everything up.
Yeah, and I don't. I think I don't know. My opinion, what would slow a production down is having 50 people wandering around,
Uh huh.
not doing anything. But with me, it's like I know where the light needs to be. I know where the actors need to be. I've got the scene already in my head. And we just need to put them in place. And I do 3 takes usually,
Hmm.
and go on to the next scene, kind of like Ed Wood.
Yeah. That one scene in the movie, it was kind of funny. They didn't have a permit to be filming in downtown, and
Mm-hmm.
they saw the police and had to quickly run away.
Yeah, not even then. I think they even did that in Maniac when Tom Savini fired that shotgun into that car in Manhattan. Or they were already set up to fire the gun and then get out of there in like 45 seconds. So it happens even today.
Yeah, guerrilla filmmaking. That's funny. I knew a filmmaker back when I lived in Pittsburgh, and he would get the permits and stuff like that. But it was funny because we worked at the time at the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, and he had actually filmed a scene outside on the sidewalk that included like the artificial blood, the Karo syrup and all that.
Oh yeah.
And so I guess I don't know if he just didn't think this through all that much, but it's right in front of a newspaper, a major newspaper, and there's blood. Like, oh, he did his best to wash it off, but there's a big blood splatter right
Mm-hmm.
in, right by the entryway. It
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of funny, but it's the same concept. Oh no.
I've never run into that, and I don't. I haven't. I've only done one thing on public property, and that was an alley shootout thing I did for Stitches
Hmm.
a bunch of years ago for the trailer. And it was in a small little village just outside of Columbus. And I said, we're going to shoot this bank robbery thing at this, what used to be a former bank, is now just an office.
Yeah.
And we like to shoot this scene in the back alley out of the way. We're going to have a couple of, period cars and some guys in suits, and they're going to have wooden guns. You know, they say, oh yeah, it's cool. Okay, do I need to pay you money? No, no, insurance and all that stuff and permits. No. We had a good time. We had some people watch. The cops came by and watched. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's good. That's good that they were, so agreeable
Oh
with your
yeah.
project. That's cool. Very cool. Now you okay, this is like we said, this is a homage to the Hammer horror films. Now I want to ask, do you have any other monsters in mind that are along the same vein, with that Hammer look and feel to it?
For another project, you mean?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually working on one now. It could be a prequel to House of the Vampire,
Ah.
or it could be, its own little short story. So I'm working on it, but yeah, it'll be in the same vein. I like doing Hammer because and I'm a child of the '80s, so that's my style. I like practical effects. I
Yeah.
like a little, tongue-in-cheek rubber monsters and things like that. I'm not so much on the CGI.
Right. Right.
It's fine if you need it, but I'd rather not use it. Um, but doing stuff with Hammer, I just like the pacing of it. Um, I don't like the twitchy zombies of today where everything's like digital effects and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. I'd much rather see a lumbering thing climbing up out of the ground, than some rabid monster.
Yeah.
Biting into people and then suddenly they become rabid monster. I don't know, whatever.
What about music? Your
Yeah.
score. Do you have a score for this film?
I used several songs that were freely given away on the internet
Oh, okay.
from some of the stock music sites.
I see.
They're free with credit and attribution. But a good friend of mine out of Nashville, his name is Todd Kirby, and he composed 4 songs for this. And he does all his stuff on a computer, but you would never know. He's been a musician for, God, almost 40 years. So he wrote 4 original songs for this. And he also scored some for Mr. Stitches as well.
Okay. That got me thinking because Hammer and of course Terrence Fisher, with his, he could make opening up a pickle jar sound so foreboding and scary.
Oh yeah.
It just they had the whole kit and caboodle with the Hammer. So I'm really curious to see this. I'm anxious to see this. How can our viewers see this, Michael?
Well, it's got its own Facebook page, facebook.com/House of the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And on that page is also a link to a website, a Wix website that I have. It's free space I have that has more information and a place you can purchase the film. It's $15. DVD. The movie is 50 minutes in color, as it says on the poster.
I know. I brought that up on the pre-show. I was showing that poster. I got a kick out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a chapter of outtakes, and there's a chapter of production photos, and sees some of the candid shots taken by myself and some of the actors, some video clips. But the whole thing is $15, and it's PayPal, and they ship it right from Parkersburg, and you get it in a couple of days.
Okay. We have Paul. He says, "Hey Brian, I'm here." Hey Paul, thanks for joining us. Reading some of the comments. John says, "Hello again." Hey John. And Mary says, "Hi Michael. It was awesome working with you and the rest of the cast, and Lisa, your PA. The film locations were amazing. Ristenberg. I hope I'm saying that right, Mary."
Yeah, that's Mary Kay. She was a vampirist.
Oh, that was the one we were just talking about. Okay, I'll put her picture back up there.
Check out your show tonight.
Oh, that's that. No, what about the makeup? Who did the makeup effects on that? That looks really cool.
Lisa did the vampirist makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time.
Well, I can't imagine why. Yeah.
Well, I was over there running the fog machine, and I had some volunteers at the farm, some local folks that were friends who wanted to hang out and watch the shoot, and I put them to work.
Yeah.
So I said, here, you hold the fog machine and you flag the fog around, and here, hold this light. So I had some extra help on a couple of days at the farm. But Lisa did the makeup. It's super simple, the makeup we did. We didn't have time to do stuff. We had the actors were, coming from Cincinnati, from Dayton, from Cleveland, and I just didn't have the budget or time, to hire a makeup artist, or a hair person. So we did it ourselves. It was some old-fashioned tricks we learned on YouTube. And, I know I kind of wanted to have that kind of, the look that you see in the picture. That's what I wanted to look like.
Right, right. John's asking you, which director has been your major influence?
Oh, wow. Gee, that could be anybody from, George Lucas, to Steve Spielberg.
Yeah.
I love Hitchcock. I love there's so many of them.
It's hard to just pick one, huh?
Yeah, even Zemeckis, did wonderful. And Toby Hooper on Poltergeist, all that. So, but yeah, I'm a big fan of anybody from the 80s who, have made the 80s monster movies, the 80s slasher movies.
We have a watch party every Thursday night, and on the Chiller Night Facebook group page, and our host Dale Baltzer, he's been on this kick where that's what he's been playing is 80s movies, and it is just some of the ones that he pulls up are just fantastic. I have a love for those. They're a lot of fun. Not just the horror, but the science fiction. There's a lot that whole time era was just a lot of fun with, like you said, the practical effects, and like some of the earlier ones, like American Werewolf in London, and The Howling. They're working with the prosthetics and the bladders underneath the pneumatics. It was such a neat time, for horror movies.
The practical effects, foam rubber and sclera lenses, and I just don't think they'd set out to nauseate people with hyper realistic killings.
Yeah.
You could laugh at the silliness, the camp of 80s slashers and 80s horror.
Right.
You watch today's movies, it's like, oh, this is awful. This is so realistic, I can't even watch it.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, some of it's, almost traumatizing, I would think, especially to a younger viewer. Joseph Moreland says, hello, Chiller Night. Hey, Joseph, thanks for joining us. Great to hear Michael, who was so great to work with. This project was a blast to do.
Yeah, Joseph, that was Reginald Abshire, the patriarch of the family, right there. Yeah, he came over from Cincinnati, along with Mary and Madison, who played Lillian. She was a fantastic actress. She did the spot-on posh English accent. I was very happy with Madison. She went over. She had the look I was looking for, and I can't say enough nice things about everybody who was in the movie.
Now it looks like the costumes are theatrical, like the theater quality at the minimum. I mean, where do you get your costumes for something like this?
Most of these costumes were given to me by the folks who owned the mansion that we filmed inside.
Oh.
And they have this, I don't know. They have so much stuff in this house, But the upper floor has all these costumes. And in the Christmas, except for this past year, for the past 20 or so years, every Christmas, they host a historic tour of the homes in their neighborhood. So they have a lot of the Dickensian era outfits that they would dress to look from the 1800s already.
Oh.
And she was nice enough to let me borrow them and keep them at my house for several weeks while we shot. And some of the other items I rented from the Actors Guild of Parkersburg. So.
Well, the one thing I really want to do, I want to give the viewers a little taste of this by playing your trailer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that right now.
Welcome home, brother.
It's good to be home, even if just for a holiday.
Tell us, brother, how is it to cut into a human cadaver?
This belonged to your great-grandfather, Elias Abshire. Although why he would own a book of anatomical illustrations is beyond me.
Was this formerly a door to another room?
it's been bricked up since I was a boy.
I'd be very interested to see what's behind it.
Put a lot of people on the ground at me, Todd. Never seen a mummified body, though.
Father, is there someone in our family cemetery?
There is a curse upon this house.
Your grandfather Elias believed so much so that the dead were returning to feed upon the living, that he studied anatomy and folklore for better research on how to properly destroy a vampire.
Then he was quite mad.
I remember when Grandfather showed me the wall, he talked about the body buried there. And how his father did it. The whole frightful story.
There you have it, folks. There was the trailer for House of the Vampire. That I just noticed something in that last scene. Is it looked like the vampire lady was standing there. It looked like there were bats, or maybe they were birds. I don't know, but it looked like it was a whole flock of them, a swarm or whatever you want to call them, flying by. I don't know if I caught that right. Was that something that you added in the film? Like it was an outdoor shot.
Yeah, I added some bats in there. There's a scene where the vampire discorporates into a flock of bats.
Ah, okay.
And so we did some really quick and easy CG for that. Pretty low tech, actually. And there's effects people out there who could have done that way more realistic than I did.
Ah,
But,
it looked pretty good. Looked pretty good to me. It helps that maybe it helped that it was darker too. But I wanted to ask you, is like, wow, was it an effect and that you added later, or how did you do that? So that's pretty cool.
oh yeah.
All right. Well, believe it or not, we are actually coming up on the end of this particular episode. Michael, is there?
Oh wow.
Is there? I know these go so quick. They go so quick. I should probably start making this into an hour program instead of a 30-minute. It's easy to do. But is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers? Anything at all? Any additional information, or do you have any future projects that you're wanting to tackle here soon?
Yeah, I've got the other thing in the works I'd like to do. This one actually takes place in the late 1700s, so.
Oh, geez.
I'm going farther back in time.
You just didn't have that much of a challenge, I guess, yet, huh?
I got to find a colonial village, now to film in somewhere that's log cabins and
Yeah.
all that.
Next time I talk to you, you'll be doing that, and you'll have some old wooden ship, or something.
We're shooting miniature in a swimming pool.
Right. Well, this was really fun. I can't wait to see House of the Vampire, and to our viewers, I hope you get a chance to check it out. Visit if I put the website up here a little bit earlier, I'll put it up again. However, a real easy way to find this, if you have Facebook, is to just simply go to House of the Vampire and click on that, and there's a link there that will take you to the website, and it gives you all the information on how to get a copy of the movie and all that. So
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd like to have more folks look at it and give me their opinions of it and see it, and watch out for the next one. Hopefully before this time next year, I'll have a at least one more done. So
Well, let me know when you do, because I'd love to have you back on and we can talk about that.
that'd be great. Look forward to it.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for being the guest tonight here on Chiller Chat.
Thank you very much. Good
All
night,
right.
everyone.
Been a pleasure talking to you. Have a good night.
See you.
All right. Well, that was really cool. I am looking forward to seeing that. Like I said, you know, obviously you can tell Michael's a big fan of the Hammer horror movies, and as am I, and I know a lot of our viewers are as well. So if you get a chance, check it out. House of the Vampire, written and directed by independent filmmaker Michael Smith. So with that, thank you everybody. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night, and we'll see you next week.